Turn our attention to France now, where the 76th edition of the Cannes Film Festival is underway. The event opened last night with the screening of Jeanne du Barry, that's Johnny Depp's new film. Michael Douglas received the honorary Palme d'Or at the opening ceremony, while the rest of the festival can expect a list of stars such as Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Kate Blanchett. There are also smaller screenings for up-and-coming producers as well as the famous Marche du Film. For more on this, let's cross live to Cannes in the south of France and speak with Arise international correspondent Faith Orr, who is at the Palais des Festivals. Faith, you've just been in the press conference with Johnny Depp. He was a controversial choice to open the festival. Has that been addressed?
It has indeed, not just by Johnny himself, but also by the president of Cannes Film Festival, Thierry Frémaux. Now, I'll start with Mr. Frémaux's comments. He was asked about the decision to choose a film with Johnny Depp as the lead actor to open Cannes Film Festival and what that said, given his recent personal legal troubles in the US. And he simply said that he only knew Johnny Depp as an actor, that he didn't know about the trial. He said he was one of the few people in the world who hadn't watched it. He had no interest in it, and he only knew him as an actor. Then today we heard from Johnny Depp, we heard from the man himself, who was asked about how he felt if he had been boycotted by Hollywood. And he said, well, at the time he felt like he had been boycotted, but now he doesn't. You know, he'd been booted off a film when all of these revelations came out, but now he says he doesn't care about Hollywood. You know, he's only 45 minutes away from Cannes. That was where he came in from today. He enjoyed the screening last night. He described the other stories in his life as things that will line a newspaper, that will be lining a bird cage, you know, or wrapping a fish supper, and that it's simply boring. So he's addressed it, but he's certainly not really taking any questions on it. He's trying to move past it, trying to ignore those controversies, but they are a thing. They're not going away.
Well said. Now, the film itself addresses a true story of Jeanne du Barry. I hope I'm saying that, properly. It's directed by and stars Mai Wen. Can you tell us about that story and how it's been portrayed?
It is, based on the true story of Jeanne du Barry, who was essentially one of the mistresses of King Louis XV. She was the favourite. Now, that film opened here last night, as you said, they're directed by Mai Wen, who was also the lead actress in the role of Jeanne du Barry. It's an interesting way that they've told the story. One of the most interesting facts is that they didn't choose a French actor to portray the French king. They, of course, chose Johnny Depp. Now, he said when he first met Mai Wen, he had said to her, do you not think it would be a better idea to have a Frenchman play this role? And she said, well, I did consider that, but no, I want you. And she actually said herself that it was very important to her to have an actor that she was interested in because she was going to have to hug and kiss them a lot. That's one reason to get Johnny Depp in the role, I suppose. But the film itself, it highlights lots of, issues about the time. One of the plot lines is of a gift that the king gives to Jeanne du Barry, and it's actually a child who has been enslaved from Africa, and he has been sold around the world before ending up essentially as a possession of the French royalty. And her relationship develops with that boy until she rejects him at the age of about 12 or 13. And that is because within the movie, and certainly in real life as well, Jeanne du Barry was at the mercy of the royal court. The royal family rejected her. It was only the king that wanted her there. And she felt like she had to reject that boy in order to try and be accepted. So it's an interesting tale, certainly, about not just of the time, but the human relationships. The director said she wanted to focus on the love story and not just make it a biopic of Jeanne du Barry's life, but she wanted to focus on the human connections between her and the king.
Noted. Thank you so much, Faith. Now, can you give us a feel of the atmosphere? What's it like at the Cannes Film Festival, since you're there?
Well, I can tell you, I can tell you right now, it's extremely wet. It's pouring down with rain. Let's just take a look out to the crowd. You can already see there's people queuing. Now, we are seeing lots and lots of crowds. It's not so busy right now because it is early in the day, but by the time it comes near red carpet time tonight, we are going to see the streets absolutely packed. You can see all of the barriers. I mean, you're just squeezing through crowds in the evening as everyone tries to catch a glimpse of the stars. And even people who don't have tickets for the event, they will stand, they'll still get dressed up in their tuxedos and their evening gowns, and they will stand with signs and they will ask people for tickets, because tickets have been particularly hard to come by. They operate an online ticketing system, and those are for people who are actually still accredited, by the festival, so official festival goers. And it's becoming so difficult to get tickets for any of these events. They are available to book from 7 a.m. Now, I have sat and refreshed the computer from 6:55, and you can refresh that computer screen on the dot when the clock turns to 7 a.m, and within seconds there is no seats left. It's really, so there's been some complaints about that, some questions over whether that's the right process, because everyone is going for the tickets at exactly the same time, whereas in the past years we have seen priority given or certain seats reserved for press and other industry officials. Because that is one of the essences of Cannes as well. You mentioned in the introduction to me there, the Marché du Film. It is the heart of the cinema industry here in Cannes, where thousands of industry professionals gather, not just to inspire each other, but to do business deals, to get funding for productions, to sell productions. That is where a lot of the deals are done, and that's how things end up on your screen. So it's important that these people are also able to fully experience the festival.
Well, that's worth noting, Faith, what you just talked about, in terms of the difficulty in getting the tickets. Do you think the complaints or the feedback might be enough to, possibly review next year's film festival based on this?
I mean, very possibly. The director of the festival did mention that they would be looking into it when his opening press conference 2 days ago, so we did hear from him on that. But what they had said previously was the tickets that had been reserved, the seats weren't full, but if you look at the queues that are forming here, I mean, even if tickets are released last minute, people will still snap those up. So personally, I'm hoping that it's reviewed for future years, because I am struggling to get a ticket.
Well, thank you so much. In spite of the struggle, you gave an excellent analysis, and we appreciate your time here on Newsday. Arise International correspondent Faith Orr, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.